Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic / Non-Classic. This is episode number 781, Doubelshot number 675. I got two X-Men trades. First up, it is Astonishing X-Men, Volume 2, A Man Called X. Collecting issues 7 through 12 of Astonishing X-Men, Volume 4. I say this is Volume 4 because the first two volumes were miniseries, and a lot of people think when they think of Astonishing X-Men, people think of a lot of the time, basically in recent years, of the run of the series that was originally started by Joss Whedon and John Cassaday. Joss Whedon and John Cassaday. Back in 2004. Yeah, but I also include the first two volumes, which basically were both published in the 1990s. The first volume was basically one of the miniseries, was part of the overall event Age Apocalypse. The second one was basically part of a prelude into the event known as the 12. Yep. Yeah. Shaw was the writer of these issues, and this is by far the second and last trade to collect issues for his whole run. Why? Because he left after 12 issues. I don't know why, he just did. Now, the book itself has got various different artists on it. Each issue has got a different artist. I don't really know why. Just that for some reason, Show likes having a rotating door of artists for really no reason. Issue 7 is done by Phil Noto. He does the interior artwork. The cover artwork is done by Mike Dowd Jr. and Frank Martin. Issue 8 is done by Paulo Securia. The cover art, pretty much the cover art for the first two issues done by the same two people, Mike Dowd Jr. and Frank Martin. Lee Francis Yu and Morty Hotwell does issue 9, the cover art for that one. 10 is done by Akko, who is also the interior artist, and Marco Milano. 11 is done by Greg Land and Frank DeMartata. Issue 12 is also done by Greg Land and Edgar Delgado. The interior artists for 9 through 12 are Matteo Bagafi, who does issue 9, Akko, issue 10, Ron Garney, issue 11, and Joseph Sabataro does issue 12. Now, with these issues, when the thing starts out, it's a return of Proteus. Last time this guy physically appeared in a comic book was back during the events of Neurosha. Yeah, and these issues came out just this year. Yep. And when these, actually, I think it was last year, when these issues came out. I'm thinking so, right? I know this trade came out this year, yes. Yeah, I think it was just this year. Now, issue 6 came out last year. The last physical time that Proteus appears back in the events of the Roche back in 2010. So when he finally returned, it had been 7 years since he was last seen. Of course, last time he was seen, Magneto shoved into outer space. Here, apparently, it's revealed that a shard of him was kept in the astral plane, and apparently the return of Charles Xavier brought about the return of Proteus. Yep. And pretty much the majority of this is all about fighting Proteus. And I should point out, though, this is also the last time we physically see this lineup in the book, because starting with the next writer, he completely changes the lineup. Yeah, I don't really know why. I've never seen this before when it comes to an X-Men book, where whenever a new writer comes on board, he just changes the lineup for no explained reason. Yeah. As far as I can tell, for the new roster, starting the next issue, next arc, which the next set of issues, which being the next trade, yeah, it's a completely different lineup. You just have Banshee, Beast, Colossus, Dazzler, Havoc, and Warpath. Yep, the reason why Havoc basically becomes why this particular lineup is set up. That's the 7 pages of X and Blue. This just ends Charles Schultz's very brief run of the book. I don't know why he left. Maybe because he was getting too many books in his place, so he's had to give some books up. Yeah, as far as I know, he was not going to give up Daredevil for quite a while. And then all of a sudden I saw in this solicits that apparently 6/12 is going to be his last issue for the run. Okay. So with his running on that, which means he's cutting it, he's trying to slim down his work for some reason. Maybe because he was getting too much workload. I don't know. But by the end of this year, he's probably going to be on probably like one book, and that's Darth Vader. Yeah, because, well, he is running this first, and soon the Poe Dameron series is going to end, and he's going to end his run on Daredevil in a few issues, and that means by the end of the year, the only book he have left will be Vader. Yep. And mostly this just deals with more stuff, and for some reason, Bishop, like right after this, as far as I can tell for him, I haven't seen him since his run ended. Logan, of course, appears in his own series. Rogue and Gambit got an ongoing series now called Mr. and Mrs. X. Psylocke, I think, currently appears in, I think, possibly X-Men Gold, but I'm not really sure. Angel, well, he's appearing in Extermination, so that's where he is. As for X himself, he's not really doing very much. I know he did appear in the annual, but that's really it. As for Mystique, she's appearing in absolutely nothing. Though she is going to have a one-shot coming out later this year. Actually, just in a couple months, actually. Yeah, as far as the X-Men Black one-shots. Mm-hmm. And I gotta say, for last year, bringing this series back, as of right now, was a stroke of genius by part of Marvel. I mean, it had been a good 4 years since Marvel ended this series, and I kind of wanted to bring the series back because I really enjoyed it, especially under Marjorie Liu, especially since, well, she and Greg Pak basically got the book come out on time, because it seems like right after Whedon left, apparently the book just, actually it was after Warren Ellis left, the book could, actually after Warren Ellis' first arc, apparently the book could not come out on time at all. Yeah, the book was suffering through heavy delays. And that's why it took 10 years to release 76 issues. But look at what this, much better schedule with this one. Of course, now we have Rosenberg and Greg Land take on the book after this. But at least Rosenberg is a fantastic writer. Land is something else altogether. But this by far was a really good story, and I like the way the show told this. It's really good. I'm going to give this book a 9.5 out of 10. Next up is another X-Men book, and this is X-Men Venom X-Men Poison X. Yep, this collects X-Men Blue issues 21-22 and number 1. And of course Venom 162-163. Yeah, and for some reason for these issues, now this is a follow-up to Venomverse. Yeah, that essentially put what this book is. It's a follow-up to Venomverse. Now I should point out though, this particular event is not the first time that Colin Bunn has written Venom. The last time he wrote Venom was actually during Venom Volume 2. Yeah, he took over at issue 23, I think it was, and he wrote it for the next 20 issues. Yep, he did. And the book ended with basically him as the writer. So it was nice to see him come back to this particular event. And also, for some reason, despite the fact it's written by Colin Bunn, Magneto is referenced a couple times in here, but he's nowhere to be seen. Now, what's the story for this one? Okay, apparently the Starjammers were kidnapped by Thrill Killer. Yeah, a character created by Colin Bunn is CM Punk. Yeah, this is by far the third time he's actually shown up, because the last time he showed up in a comic book was actually in the Deadpool Back in Black miniseries. But that was technically the third series she popped up in, because first she appeared in the Drax series, and then after that, and I guess Colin Bunn, like, okay, since I created this character with CM Punk, and CM Punk is not doing anything else with Marvel, I'll just have her appear in the Deadpool Back in Black miniseries. And then afterwards, I guess he didn't have any plans at that point for her. Then, of course, this event came up. It's like, okay, I'll bring it back here. And they had to basically, now why is Venom here? Well, symbiotes, so gotta go involve Venom. And also, now at the time when these issues came out, because right now the book Venom just got relaunched #1 recently with a brand new writer, with Danny Costas as the writer. The writer at this point was Mike Costa. Yep, Mike Costa had basically been the writer of Venom at this point for, I think, about a little over a year. Yeah, he just taken over for Robbie Thompson after the Venom Space Knight series ended, and for some reason, yeah, he put the symbiote back on Eddie Brock for some reason. I've heard that it was due to nostalgic value, despite the fact that Flash Thompson has received a very good amount of development over the course of 6 years that he held, like the 5 or 6 years that he actually wore the symbiote. And then all of a sudden they take it away from him, give it to Lee Pierce for some stupid reason. Of course, he was the main villain of the Venom Inc. storyline. And then for some reason went back to Eddie Brock, and Eddie Brock has sort of this obsession with it. As far as known in the past, like prior to him getting back to the symbiote, he never expressed this at all. This was something Mike Costa made of himself, because if you read any previous Venom book prior to Mike Costa taking on her book, yeah, the way he writes the relationship between Eddie Brock and the symbiote, it's a romantic relationship, which is very weird, because you have Eddie Brock have a relationship with something is basically a goo. Yeah, it's really weird. Also, in the Venom verse, it was also toward the end of his run that the symbiote was pregnant again. Yeah, apparently Eddie Brock is the father. It's really weird. Yeah, so they kidnap him against his will, mind you. He pointed this out, though. So they take Venom to space in a spaceship. They actually find the Starjammers, and toward the end of the crossover, Jean Grey gets taken over by a symbiote. Of course, they all get symbiotes anyways. But most of the Starjammers pretty much get away. Though the end of this does lead into the Venomized crossover, Venomized miniseries, which is a follow-up to this thing. It's actually the conclusion to this very storyline. Even though the Venomverse was the start of this, Poison X is the follow-up to it. Yep. Venom X is Poison X is the follow-up to it, and part 3 of this story is in Venomized, which I have read. It's a really good miniseries. It's interesting though that Cullen Bunn did this, but it's actually really good. Though it comes at very weird timing when this particular event came out. Why do I say weird timing? Because Venom just had another crossover prior to this. Venom Inc. Yeah, just prior to this, though there was a standalone issue published between this event and the previous one prior to the start of Venom's tie-in to this particular event. Yeah, at least that kind of wrapped up loose ends related to Venom Inc. But this, of course, is very weird timing. And then, like, right after this, like, not long after this event wrapped up, his book continued for another few issues under the writer by Costa before he restarted number 1 just this year under Danny Costas, who is, by the way, a very good writer, by the way. Fun. It's actually a really fun little mini event, and I kind of like when Marvel does this, when they do these little mini events, not these big, humongous company-wide crossovers that have to have like half the publishing titles tie into it just because of our sales boost. This is fine. I personally have a problem with this. As far as even people who don't like major crossovers, as far as I know, they don't really mind of crossovers like this, because this is a cross between 2 books, not 5 or 6, or 30 or 40 books. It's just 2 books, and it's only a quick little 5-part story. But it's really, really good. Though the ending of this basically here's something quite weird after this. In the case of the X and Blue book, they basically form a new team. The Venom book somehow he gets back to Earth, but without the original X-Men. Yeah, Mike Costa doesn't care to explain that. It's just he's back on Earth for some reason, and the ending of this does lead to Venomized. I'm gonna give this book a 9.5 out of 10. It's really, really good. I got praise Cullen Bunn for this. This was actually a really good story. Okay, so that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for the next episode, which could be episode number 782 and Doubelshot number 600. And 76. Where I'm going to review a Batman, Superman trade, and a Batman trade. You'll find out what they are in the next episode. Okay, until we see you there. Bye.